Hello everyone, I'm Bets Golden. Welcome back to my channel, and today I am going to be making a card using this add-on by Fawn for their Magic Iris set. And it is called, let me look here, it's the Snow Globe add-on. And obviously this was made to create a snow globe for winter, but I'm going to do something really different with it. One of the things that I did was I created this kind of simple neutral card, and it's your possum, okay? And that's how, you know, it's supposed to work with the add-on. We're going to create a shaker card today, and the pieces that I have cut for the shaker card include this top piece, this piece right here, and then these two pieces for the base of the snow globe. So I'm not going to be using the snowflakes. I'm going to show you in this video a couple different ways that you can create a resist using some gloss sprays by Dina Wakley, as well as the Distress Embossing Glaze. This also would work with any general embossing powder that you have. I like this because it's going to allow me to get that color in there, and I can kind of skip a step without having to color in an image per se. All right, so for this first one, I'm going to start to create the background first, and I'm just going to take my gloss spray. Make sure you give it a really good shake. Can you hear those balls down there? They're little mixing balls. Give it a really good shake because you want to mix it all up. Now, this will not work with every spray that you have. This works with this one because it's an acrylic spray. So when it dries to a plastic. All right, so I'm just going to take it, and if you want to not get it everywhere, you definitely would want to take and cover this up. I'm okay with it getting on the back. I think it's fun. So I'm just, I have to turn everything the opposite direction that I'm using it. So I'm just going to spray some of it on like that, and then go over it with cheddar. So this is lemon, this is cheddar. And I want big drops, so I can also open up and just splat it on like so. And I'm going to do that with the lemon as well. Now, it's super important that you let this set up. You don't want to try to add color on top of this until this has had an opportunity to dry, or else you're going to get just a big mess. This has had some time to dry, so we're going to go ahead and just finish up our background. And I'm going to use Crown Me and also Bee Sting. And this is the Simon Hurley ink. I love this ink. It blends beautifully. I think it's my favorite kind of ink to blend. And I'm first going to go in with the Bee Sting. And I'm using my Foam Dome Dabber by ScraPerfect.com. I love this because it fits on pretty much any handle that I have. And it blends so much better than anything else I've ever used. And I'm just going to go in and hit this with a couple spots. I like to kind of work in threes. And again, I'm not caring too much if it goes on the outside. And as you can see, the glossy accents is still resisting nicely. Like, it's resisting. And I'm going to throw some water on this, and then you'll see even more how that resist works. And then I'm going to go in with some Crown Me, which is a really pretty purple. And I'm being respectful right now, my color families, with my dye ink, simply because these are going to blend together. And I know that purple plays nicely with red. It also plays nicely with blue, but it doesn't really play nice with anything else. So keep that in mind when you are blending in your colors. And I don't care that what I have down does not blend well with purple, like the yellow and the orange, because that has already dried. So it's not going to blend at all. It's simply going to sit on top of the dried glossy spray. And then I'm just going to go over some of those spots where they meet again with my red. And from here, I'm going to throw a little bit of color on, and then I'm also going to wipe up, just kind of dab it up to pull off of any color that may be sitting on top of the glossy accents. So I'm just going to take a baby wipe for this and just pull that color up first, and that vibrancy shines through. Then I'm going to take my sprayer and just make it move just kind of a little bit more. I just like to spray my dyed ink backgrounds down. And now we have a really fun, festive card base for our shaker. Now we're going to go ahead and work on the fun part. And for this, I just took a circle that I had cut out and I placed this over so I know where it's going to go. And the reason why I made it so large is because I actually want to take and color that spot in so that it really pops on my card. And then this is where I'm going to do my stamp. So I want to go in first and get those edges done up. And I think that I am going to do it with Clear Skies. And I'm just going to go around like so. And now I'm going to stamp the image. And the stamps that I'm going to use are these cute little puppy puns from Simon Hurley. I just love this set. I'm going to pop this in my Misty, and I'm going to actually use some alcohol ink to color this in. And I'm just going to line this up in the center like so. And since I'm going to be coloring this in with some alcohol ink, I do need to make sure that the ink that I use is obviously alcohol ink friendly. And so the Memento is the best. It's fade resistant dye ink, and I have been using this for over 12 years. I don't think I've ever even re-inked the stamp pad. How crazy is that? And I'm just going to pop this down. But since I haven't re-inked the stamp pad, I definitely want to make sure that I do 2 stamping. And as you can tell, there seems to be a line that the image did not transfer over on. So I'm going to draw that in after I use my alcohol ink on it. So I'm just going to follow the Illustrator line on that and just draw in the missing element. Now, this is not something that is unique to this stamp set, meaning like if you get this stamp set, yours probably is fine. I probably slashed it by mistake. So there's that. Since I'm right here, I might as well just stamp the little sentiment on this strip that I have. I'm just going to use some black archival ink for this. I think I will keep it white because I am going to have so much color elsewhere that I think it'll pop better if it's on white. Otherwise, I would have definitely I would definitely have colored this in first. Now to clean this, since I did just use my black archival ink on it, I am going to go ahead and use my best cleaner. 1 squirt tends to do the trick. I like this because it literally gets up the archival ink so much better than anything I have ever used. So I'm going to take the dry wipe and just rub it off like so. And as you can tell, there's no more ink. I am going to rinse it with a little bit of water just to get the residue of the cleaner off. And voila, now I have a clean stamp. To color in this little cute guy, I'm going to go ahead and just use my Tri-Blend Spectrum Nori markers. These are alcohol markers, and they take all the guesswork out for me on what needs to be colored, and I get a perfect blend every time. So the trick to this is you want to go in with your lightest first, and I'm using gold brown. So I'm just going to cover my entire dog with this gold brown. And again, I'm going to address those missing image pieces after I'm done with the alcohol ink. They do squeak, which kind of drives me nuts, but oh well. You're not going to get a perfect coverage the first time, and that's okay. And I'm going to go in with the mid-tone next. And then I'm going to go in with the dark. And if I have an area that doesn't blend, I just simply go over it over and over again until I start to see it blend out. Now, as you can tell, I did get outside of the line, but that's okay. I'm going to show you what you can do to fix that in a moment. I want to go ahead and color in the collar. And the reason why I'm waiting to fix this mistake out here is because I may accidentally get the collar outside of the line. So I like to do my cleanup at the very, very end. And I'm just going in with this darker color because it's such a small area that I don't necessarily want to do too much to it in the sense that shading and things. So what you want to do with this is you're going to pull out a colorless blender, and all the alcohol inks are totally interchangeable. What one brand is will work with another brand. This is not from the Spectre Noir. This is actually from Shinhan Art, and this will work. I have a colorless blender as well from Copic, and then another one. This is a misrepresentation of what this really is, though, you guys. This is not a colorless blender. Your lightest color on your coloring series is your blender. The lightest color that you use, blend your color. This is a color eraser. So what you want to do is you just want to go in and kind of push it back into the spot that you want and dab, and it will eventually lift that color, and then you will not see it anymore. If you happen to get some of your color outside of the line, but it's still within your image, don't do this. Go through and color your image like you normally would. And in the new section, just color over that with the color that you normally would have in that section, and it will blend itself into it and you will be totally fine. That's a little technique I learned. If you try to use this on a section that you may have colored over, you're going to get a white spot and it won't exactly look right. So it's always better to cover up your imperfections with the color that you're using, unless you're just like completely out of the lines like I am right now and you're not going to add any color at all to that area. Then you just want to tap it over and over again and kind of push it back into the other line, and it does come up. And once that dries, you won't even be able to see that there was a mistake. But I did forget to color the bottom of his little neck, so I need to blend that through. And again, the lightest color is really your blender. All right, now that he is all done and colored, I'm going to go in and add in those lines. So I just want to take my pen, make sure it's writing, and just carefully add in the lines. And his nose is a little bit funky, but you know what? That's all right. There's a reason why I stamp and I don't draw. Okay, so from here, I'm going to set this aside and we're going to work on our globe. So for the globe, I actually want to go ahead and color this in. I'm going to do Later Gator on this top. And then on the bottom, I'm going to use Clear Skies. So I'm going to use some Distress in the Flamingo and then also in my Broken China. And what I want to do is from this set, I want to go ahead and take this cute little party hat and these little paws, and I'm just going to stamp them all over the place in the Broken China color. But I'm going to emboss it, not stamp it in Broken China, if that makes any sense at all. So I'm just going to take these, and I can totally do it at the same time and just go all over the place with this, and then we will emboss it. And then the little hats will color in with my flamingo. Then from here, I'm going to go ahead and just emboss it with my Broken China. All right, there we go. And I actually want to go in right there again, I think. There we go. And it looks like that one I did a double on. So what I can do for that, on that one up there, is I can actually take my little brush and remove that before I heat set it. So always check your image over really well first, just to see if you like where everything is. Then you're gonna wanna make sure that you take your embossing gun, which has a fine narrow tip on it, and heat it up first. I'm going to show you what you can do to kind of avoid what happened there where I had that like some loose embossing glaze. Just take a pouch, and this is by ScraPerfect, and it's full of powder, and you just powder the whole pouch down. You powder it with the pouch, and what that does is it removes that moisture, and you're just left with a really nice dry surface. So from here, I'm going to take my embossing distress pin, and I'm going to color in my little hats with the flamingo. Now, when you're working with this distress embossing pin, you only have about a 10-minute time frame that you can get your images all colored in, because it will eventually dry, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because you will be able, if you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. It'll dry and you can start over again. All right, so I'm just going to pop this on in those areas. And like I said, I really like this technique for resist because I'm adding in those colors and I'm kind of able to cheat, which is super cool. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and do what I did before and heat set the whole thing. And as you can tell, I didn't do such a good job. I need to go back through and add some more pink. So I just have to go back in with my pen again, but I want to make sure that I let this cool down before doing so, because it will be sticky to the touch and you can get fingerprints and whatnot. So I just am making sure that it's all cool before I go in. And I've been pretty hard on my little nub, as you can tell. Now we are ready to go in and do that blending. So I'm going to go in with my Later Gator, and I'm just going to start to pop it on top of my stamped images, and since we have laid down the embossing glaze, it does create a resist. So it is totally resisting that color. And I will go in with a wet wipe and just remove that excess as well to really polish it up. And there we go on that. So that is pretty much done on the top. Let's go in with the clear skies on the bottom. And I did kind of get some of the blue right there, so I am going to just go over that area with the green again. All right, so this little piece I'm going to set aside, and I'm going to go ahead and get these two pieces done. And I think I'm going to do these up in purple, the Crown Me. From here, we're just going to glue these pieces on, including my little happy birthday is going to go right in the center, right like that. Want to make sure that my fingers are nice and clean though, because I have been obviously ink blending and I can get it all over the place. I want to go in with my my best craft glue ever by ScraPerfect. I have the little tip on here that is the writing tip, but I love to use this just in general because it does help my glue to elongate the life of my glue so I don't have to replace it all the time, which is super nice. I get just the right amount of adhesive. You don't need a lot of this stuff. It's so good. So I'm just going in like that, popping this one on. And then I'm going to do the bottom as well. I always recommend getting the writing tip of your adhesive just because it's one-time investment and you'll be able to use the glue for so much longer. Like, it will elongate your product and you can pop it onto your next bottle with no problem whatsoever. All right, and then I'm going to take this little one right here. All right, now we're going to make our shaker bit, and I am just going to use a piece of acetate and also this foam thing. All right, I think that this is close to my heart. It's a shaker window foam and acetate. I'll see if I can't find something that's compatible for that on one of my affiliated links for you. If not, I will try to see if they still have it. And I'm just going to pop this down first because this is what's going to allow us to see through. And I'm going to actually take and just put a little bit of my pouch again, and this will just help it not stick to everything. And once again, I'm just going to use this glue around the edges. I actually don't like glitter in mine, so I'm going to just use some leftover stuff that I have from the Planner Society, and then these little beads to the glass fillers to kind of break it up. So what I like to do is I like to just take and pop the exterior on first, making sure that I leave in place the top layer so it doesn't, like, my fillers and stuff don't stick to it. And then I remove that before I put on this piece right here. This on, making sure that I don't catch that up there. And then I'm going to erase the lines that I have off of this one in case it doesn't, you know, line up perfectly. So I'm just going to erase those lines. From here, I'm going to take and put my shaker bits in. And you don't really have to fill it to the brim. It is a really small, like, little surface. So you just need enough so it can shake around, but you don't want so much that it totally covers your image. And these little pieces, whoop, see, and that's exactly why I keep the protective film on until I'm ready to take it off. And now from here, carefully remove this. And then I'm just going to take and make sure that some of that blue is shining through on the back and pop this down. Making sure that it's nicely adhered on all sides, and hopefully this worked. Yep, so now I have a cute little shaker. And you see how you can still see him, but you know, you can shake the bits around and see that as well. All right, now I want to pop it onto the front of my card. Looking at this, I just think it needs another grounding color on it because that's very bright. I mean, I like it, but I think that I need some black splatter. So I'm going to take my ink spray, take the top off, and just add some black splatter to it. That's dry, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on the top of this card. Now to do this, I'm going to add adhesive here, and then down here, I'm actually going to use some of these foam little bits because that will allow the card to be the same depth all the way around, which is, you know, kind of important. So I'm just popping these on in places. I might be getting a little bit adhesive happy, but can you blame me? Since this is already a raised portion, I can go ahead and just use some glue on that. There we go. I'm telling you, this little extension piece up here, this writing piece, this is going to save you so much money. I mean, look how little bit of glue I use. This is gonna, the product is gonna last a while. All right, and then I'm just going to line that up in the center and pop it on down. And now my shaker is adhered very nicely to this card front. It's all even and it is ready to be given to a lucky birthday boy or girl. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you check my links down below for products that I used. If I couldn't find the product, I will try to find a like product for you. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I certainly hope that you do so. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I do have a new video coming out. Any questions or comments, you can go ahead and leave those down below. Feel free to share this video with anyone. That totally helps me out. And then also give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Until next time, I am KITSCH. Happy crafting.